Okay, we got it. This week's guest is a bona fide legend, Sean C., a Harlem native who founded the Executioners DJ Collective and has produced records for Jay-Z, Mary J. Blige, and Big Pun, among others. Sean became a VP at Loud Records and later through his production company, Grind Music, he earned a Grammy nomination for Rock Boys off the American Gangster soundtrack. Later, he did music supervision for The Get Down, Wu-Tang and American Saga, and Luke Cage, as well as the Apple TV series Starling. Let's take a look inside Sean C's boundary-pushing career on this week's episode of Mixed and Mastered. Welcome to Mixed and Mastered, the podcast where the stories of the music industry come to life. I'm Jeffrey Sledge, bringing you real conversations with the people who have shaped the sound of music. We're pulling back the curtain on what it takes to make it in the music business. These are the stories you won't hear anywhere else, told by the people who live them. This is Mixed and Mastered. Mixed and Mastered with a really good friend of mine, a little bro, even though he ain't little no more, but a little bro.
Yeah, without a doubt. I feel good that somebody could call me little bro because I'm
exactly. OG. Nobody calls me little bro no more. I'm
so
I'm officially unk status now, you know.
Exactly. So it feels good.
Everybody I told that I was interviewing him today was really excited. He's very well known in the music industry circles. My man Sean C. How you feeling, man?
I'm blessed, man. I am so blessed, man.
Like a little office setup back there, man. You look like professional and shit. Like you really know what you're doing.
A little vibe, little you know what I'm saying? Over there, little,
that vinyl back there and shit. Yeah. This is popping over there.
It's my sanctuary right here.
Exactly.
So we'll show you the other side because the sneakers look crazy over there.
Yeah. We'll start this at the top. So I met Sean, I don't know how many years ago, a very long time ago. He had a group called the what brothers?
The E Brothers.
E Brothers. Yeah. And he had, I don't even know how I got your tape. It's so long ago, I wouldn't remember. Somehow I got their demo tape.
I don't know. It might have come through nobody or.
Yeah, it could have been. Yeah,
Jerry, connection through,
who knows? Yeah, but I got a copy of their tape. It was a rapper named Wayno, not the Wayno that people know now, but a Wayno, and I still call him Jerry, but no producer, nobody, and Sean, and they had this. I still remember that song. They had this one
that
song.
Ended up being the Smith and Wesson record.
Exactly, I still remember. I was like, whoa! So I was living in Harlem, and Sean is from Harlem, so I went uptown and I met y'all, I think on like 8th Avenue, like outside of a store or some shit. You know, we got kind of talking and stuff. And Sean says that I'm the first person he met that had an actual job in the music business, like a job, and where you go to the office and sit in the, and so, he came down and we started developing a relationship from there. But we're going to start at the beginning. So you grew up in Harlem, New York.
Yes, I did.
Tell me a little bit about that.
I grew up, so my mother and father both were from 145th between Lenox and 7th, the gas station block, where all the gas stations were.
Yep, the gas station block, the Dunkin' Donuts block.
Well, now, but
now, back then it was the gas station.
It ain't even a gas station block no more.
Now
it's gone now.
Yeah,
but both my mother and father grew up on that block, so that's where I grew up until I was about 11. That's the first place that I saw hip hop because Master Don was from the area, and there was a place called Fly Guys on my street, and I'm talking about I'm little, so I'm 8, 9 or whatever, 10, something like that, probably younger. And Don used to bring his equipment out over there. Fly Guys was probably a coke spot or something like that back then, all that.
It is.
Yeah, that was going on in Harlem. But Master Don, who, if you don't know, Master Don he made a record called Funk Box.
I remember that. This is called the Funk Box. Yeah, this is how it was played. Mm-hmm.
Exactly, which is where Master P got from Master Don. But anyway, long story short, Master Don, I used to be the little kid in front of the ropes. He's the first person I ever seen do DJ, do anything hip hop. And he would see me all the time. Like anytime he came out, I'm in the front of the ropes, just like engaged and intrigued by this thing. And he asked me my name one day, and I was like, Sean. And he was like, Sean C in the house. And he's the one that named me Sean C.
Wow.
He's the one that named me Sean C. But long story short, just growing up, we moved further downtown to Schaumburg, and that's where I met Fat Man Scoop, who was my best friend. He lived a block away from me.
Okay.
And we started a group together. We were friends since 11, 12 years old. We're inseparable every day, going uptown, and we would go to St. Nick projects. I idolized Barry B and Dougie Fresh and Chill Will and all those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Would go to the park jams uptown and see them. And that's
Would you ever see Teddy?
Yeah, so we so during that period of time, because like Harlem was such a for me, man, I would never change the way I grew up, especially musically in Harlem, because there was music everywhere. And we would be in St. Nick projects all the time, and Teddy would come through or whatever, and we would be doing park jams out there with Easy Kid, who was Raw Bass's first DJ, and Easy Rock, and all of those dudes from between Lincoln and St. Nick. And Teddy heard about us, and then that's how he signed us. He ended up signing us. So we had a deal with Teddy Riley when we were teenagers, but we never got a chance to come out. But that's like the long and the short. It was a bunch of DJs started there. That's where the Executioners, the X-Men DJs come from. It was me. Rock Raider lived a block away from me. A guy named Serge named him Rock Raider, brought him to my house, and he was a little younger than me. And ever since then, he would come to my house every day. Every day, I show him routines and go back and forth. And
practice.
It's a lot. Like there's a whole network of rappers and DJs back then. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, the X-Men DJs, and we would just battle DJs. Throughout Harlem.
That's amazing how like those little kernels started that journey.
Yeah, man.
To now, you know what I'm saying? Because they don't go away. You kind of, the kernels are always there. You just kind of, you're doing your thing, but you always remember like how it started.
Yeah, it was an incredible time.
Yeah, man.
I'm so grateful I grew up in that period of time, that I came up in that time. I would never want to be, because I was, I was old enough and young enough to see like the beginning parts of hip hop. Of course, I wasn't that old where I could.
You were a kid. You were kind of seeing it.
Be around and hear the tapes, the Cold Crush tapes, and all of that part of it as a kid, and then still young enough to partake in it and contribute my part to it as a DJ and as a producer. And I got to see Don after years later, when I ended up having some success, and when I worked at Loud and was doing all these things, and I saw him and he was like, I'm so proud of you. That made me feel like really, really good. RIP to Master Don.
Of course. Yeah. I really always liked that. I still like that record to this day. Like that Funkbox record was fire. So you were with the Executions for a while. Did you guys do new music seminar and all that, or was that before you guys?
No, so we would do all of the DJ battles, DMC. Steve DMC. D, who was one of the founding members, was myself, Rock Raider, Steve D, a guy named Johnny Cash, DMD, and a couple other people, the founding members, and then we brought in Rob Swift. But Steve was the first one to get in a battle, and he was on Video Music Box, who got into like a national accepted battle, which was the New Music Seminar. And then he won.
Yeah, I was there.
Shit, yeah.
I actually was there at that battle with him, and I remember him, and it was a guy, I can't remember his name now. He was a Japanese kid. And he came over and he was like going crazy. But Steve won. I was one of the judges. Me, Tim Dog from Ultramagnetic MCs.
Shit.
Oh my God, I can't remember who else was judging. We were like the judges of that thing. Yeah, when Steve won, I remember that. I remember that.
I'm talking about like I am the little brother.
Yeah, exactly. exactly.
He was the judge, and I was just I never even thought about like trying to be on the other side of the desk. That was something that wasn't even not that it wasn't feasible, but I never thought. I was just like, you don't know how do I get there? Exactly.
And in the music business is interesting because one of the reasons I'm doing this is because everybody's path is totally different. It's not like, I do this and not a job be working at a corporate company. It's like, well, I did this, and then I got hired, and then it's like everybody's entryway is completely. There's no one way to get in. There's really no one way.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
us. So Scoop and I had this group when we got signed to Ted, and then when the deal fell apart, it was kind of like, oh shit, what do we do? And originally, actually, and I'm skipping Nobody, who was the original. It was us three originally. And we were the Get Busy Boys. Like that's our original
What's
name.
it called?
The Get Busy Boys. That was our original name. And it was the DJ and Scoop and Nobody.
Jerry
and then,
rapped. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I only know him as a producer.
No, he rapped, and then he went away to college, and we continued on. And then when he came back, actually, the deal, Teddy had found out everything that was going on between him and Gene Griffin was if y'all guys don't know, Gene Griffin was like, he's an OG music executive / gangster.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's the original, how people have that lore about Suge. I feel like Gene had that.
Absolutely.
The cliche music is industry, street guy that goes into the music business, but the old school version, like the beginning parts of it.
Absolutely.
He was one of those guys. So
absolutely,
that company dissolved. So we did a whole album, but we never got to come out. And then Nobody had come home from college during that period of time. And when he came home, he was still rapping at the time. So him and his brother started a group.
Okay.
And we actually, we really dug in on production. I had a kid. And so I slowed down on DJing, and I was looking more towards production because I was like, that's how I can make money. I didn't look at DJing as something that was going to be able to make money. I had to go get a job, but I also was like, if I'm going to continue to do something in music, I'm going to dig in on the production side. And as a DJ, that is that's a natural progression.
Yeah, it is. Most of the best producers are DJs at the core.
Right. Exactly.
Dr. Dre, Premier, like you said, it's a very natural progression to go that way.
Yeah. So we started a little crew, which was the E Brothers, Black Eye, which was Nobody and his brother. And we had a dude named Ron Spliff. We had a dude named Rock Cigar from Polar Grounds, a couple rappers. And that was our crew. Scoop had already started transitioning into the promotion side of things. So now he went, it was before Tommy Boy. He had went to Mercury.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
PWL, PLW.
Yeah, PWL.
PWL. Yeah, so he was doing promotions there. That's where he interned at, and that was kind of like me not really understanding that part either. You know what I mean? And so we stayed back, and we were working on this crew of rappers and producers, and actually Reef from Tommy Boy offered us a single deal for Nobody's group, Black Eye, and then you were really interested in the E Brothers. And so we were like, we're going to have some sort of traction. Something's going to happen. We just every day, the story, we in the crib, in his mother's house, called it Mama's house, making beats, and dudes rapping every day. And Scoop ended up going to Tommy Boy. When he went to Tommy Boy, he got the E Brothers on the New Jersey Drive soundtrack. That was actually my first plaque. That's the first plaque I ever got was from was from that. Yeah.
Wow. So now, how did you transition? What was it? Was Loud your first actual job?
Yes.
So how did that happen? Tell me about that.
During that period of time, after the E Brothers, I had already had a son, but things started getting really crazy, and I had a job, and then they get. This is a personal part of the story, but I will let it be known because people go through things, and I like to. Let it, never know how your story could help people. And I had cancer. I had gotten cancer at that time. And so I could no longer work. I had a regular security job while I was making beats. And so then I sat home while I was going through disability and this chemo, getting ready to start chemo. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? Like, what I'm going to do now? Like, I could die. What if I died? I didn't even get to where I was trying to go, So I talked to Scoop. And I was like, first I was like, I'm going to follow the same path that he did. And I called them and I was like, yo, I'm going to intern. I want to intern at a label. I think if I get a job, then I'll be able to still have money coming in, and I'll be able to get beats off to the artists because I'll be around the artists and I'll learn. So, and really, it was more to get beats off though. And so he introduced me to a kid named Malachi, who was like street team A&R assistant over at Loud. And I went over there, and there was a guy named Che Harris who actually passed away too, RIP. Che Harris was the office manager. And he had also he was also in my music business classes. I had taken music business at the new school. I didn't really, to be honest, I didn't remember Che at all, but he remembered me. And he was like, yo, yeah, now I remember you. I'm going to make sure that don't worry about it. I'll make sure you get a spot. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember you, bro. Like, yeah. And he kept his word. So when Loud moved offices from the Union Square office to Lexington Avenue, I went in as an intern, and I was interning there. And at the same time, while I was interning, I kind of skipped this part, but I did say we were making beats every day. Nobody and I had been making, we had our crew of rappers, but we were also giving beats to people. So Dame Dash lived across the street, from Nobody. Nobody lived in Franklin Plaza, which is on 108th and First. And it's right across the street from 1199. And that's where...
I used to go to the car wash over there.
Yeah, car wash over there.
Yeah.
And that's where Dame lives. So we found out that Dame was managing this kid Jay-Z, who we thought was super dope. We thought he was nice. We didn't know he was going to be Jay-Z, but we was like, he's nice. We want to get beats on his joint. We gave him a beat tape. So a year or so passes or whatever. We were working on that song as well as working on our own stuff. And while I'm at Loud as an intern, Reasonable Doubt comes out. Or at least the singles comes out. My first, and the first single was Can't Knock the Hustle.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, well, it was the first official. Well, the first single was Ain't
Dead
No
Prez and Ain't No Nigga.
Yeah, and Ain't No Nigga. Yeah. But then like the radio record was,
I got you.
It came out before the album too.
Yeah.
Was Can't Knock the Hustle. So it was the second single, technically. And Matty C, who was the head of A&R, Matty C and Scott Free, he called me in the office, was like, yo, I heard you did this Jay-Z record. And I was like, yeah, man, Boy Nobody, I had a part in it as well. And he said, I heard that you started the Executioners, like the DJ crew, the X-Men Executioners. I said, yeah. And he said, Rob Tulo, who was an A&R at Atlantic, he told me that he offered you guys offered you a deal for one of your artists, a single deal over at Atlantic. And I was like, yeah. He said, do me a favor, bro. Don't go to the mailroom anymore. You're in the A&R department. Because I was in the mailroom. I was literally in the mailroom. Grinding it out. You know what I mean? I would go to everybody's office every day and ask if they needed something, but I'm in there taping up boxes. And Knock the Hustle's on the radio. But I knew, you know what I mean? I had especially since I was going through the cancer thing, I had like a vision. Like I knew, I was like, I know what's going to happen. And I had all these seeds planted and I knew what I was doing. And I was actually a little older than everyone that were interns. So I think my focus might have been also a little bit more mature.
You're a little more mature, I
was just focused. I was a single father. I was like, I had all this weight on my back. So I had that energy. And once that started happening, that was the plan. And once the plan started coming to fruition, like the cancer thing was nothing. I was just like, I just need to get the chemo so I can get this over. Like, this is the reason why I got cancer, is because I'm supposed to do this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you got into A&R.
Yeah, and then
what was the first project you worked on, and what was the first artist that you signed at Loud?
Well, the first project that I worked on was when I got in there they were doing Hell on Earth.
Wow.
The second Loud Mobb Deep album, but the third Mobb Deep album. They were working on that. When I came in, they were doing Godfather Part 3.
Wow.
So I was an A&R assistant at that time. But I knew what I knew. So I just would really just be, in the studio, talking about the MPC, and Loud's process of A&R was very much artist first, and artists had total creative control.
Really?
Yeah, like Maddie's system was more so to create the situation for the art. If you want the artist to do something, more so create the situation that garners them to go in that direction instead of like saying this is what you should do. You should do this, and you should take these beats, and these are the beats you should rap off, and this is how it's, that was the way he was just like, yo, if you want Large, just have Large come through, or have Large be around the office, have Large, Large Professor, or whoever the producer is, like make it more organic than you feeling like you're telling the artist what to do, because they kind of a lot of times push away from that, So
Yeah, I think I've always thought that, and he not, I know he's going through a lot of stuff now, but he didn't do this on purpose. It was just his way. But Puff's way of A&Ring, to me, actually hurt the industry long term. And again, it wasn't he didn't do this on purpose, but everybody saw kind of like the superstar A&R person who's kind of controlling everything, and he was obviously really good at that. But everybody's not that,
right?
I think my way of A&R was closer to that what you're talking about. Like set up a space for the artists to be creative and relaxed and do their thing. And of course, there's conversations, and you'll kind of try to steer things a little bit, but to kind of be like that. These are the beats. This is the da. I think in the long term that hurt a lot of people, because they thought that was the way to do A&R, and it kind of probably hurt a lot of artists in the long term, because they couldn't express themselves.
Right. And fast forwarded, I did end up in the future working with Puff as a producer, and saw that system as well. But I feel like I was able to have me coming from Loud, I was able to have a balance, because I got to see both sides. And I think being an A&R at Loud and a producer, no, those guys weren't producers, and I could come at it from another angle. So making records, when I remember when Pun got signed, so we were working on Hell on Earth, and Maddie had come to the studio, and he asked, what did I think about Big Pun and Big Punisher, because we didn't call him Big Pun at that time. He was Big Punisher. He hadn't had any records out. He just had that freestyle with it was a Fat Joe song with Raekwon. It wasn't a freestyle. It was Firewater with Raekwon and Fat Joe. And I was like, he's dope, but I don't know if he can make a song. So I always looked at it from a perspective of like, what's his song making ability? What's the artist's song making ability? And he's like, Steve wants to sign him. I just came from the meeting. And then he brought him to the studio. He's on his way up here. So he came up, we hung out, and he ended up getting signed. And we created that. When we were creating that first album, he was more of a spitter, but I saw that he's got this big personality. So he had this songwriting ability, and he did the I'm Not a Player first, which we thought was that was the record that we thought was going to be his single. Once we made it a single, we shot a video for it and everything, and it did decent. But he had this idea in his head of a remix even before he had a beat. He was like,
Really?
I want to do, he's like, I want to do a remix to I'm Not a Player. I'm going to call it Still Not a Player. And I want to use the Joe chorus. I don't want to be a player no more. I'm not a player. I just fuck a lot. He had the whole song. He had the Boricua, more than I.
Really? He had it all mapped out.
He had it all mapped out. He's like, I just need the beat. And so one day, so I was talking to Nobody. So, there's still a team. So we're all feeding each other, in different ways. So I told No to give me some beats for Pun, because he's looking for some joints for the remix. Other boy, Nomad, who was in the crew, came through with the Nobody beats whilst Pun was in the office. And Pun was just sitting in our office, and we just would play. This is the other thing. Like, I'm not playing you beats for this remix. Just go in there and just play music. Just play this shit while he's sitting there.
Yeah.
And he played that Still Not a Player beat while Pun was just chilling in the office. And he was like, yo, that's the remix.
He knew right away.
Yeah, he's like, that's the remix. That's the remix. And he's like, and he starts saying it to it. And he's like, that's the joint. I'm gonna use that. I want to use that for the remix. So
wow.
Watching his writing ability, and I became, and then after that, I became really integral in creating helping to finish out his sound. And he would
Mm-hmm.
me and Pun got really, really cool after that, and a lot tighter. And he
Mm-hmm.
knew who I was from that as a DJ, and then respected my ear because I basically helped him make his biggest record that changed his life. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And we'll be right back. Ready to launch your podcast? Merrick Studios offers comprehensive services, from concept development and seamless production to strategic marketing and monetization. Let your story take the mic. Visit merrickcreative.com/studios and let's get to work.
Master the art of lyricism with Pendulum Inc., the first school for rap. Learn elite techniques through immersive lessons, real-world exercises, and guidance from hip-hop icons. This is where MCs sharpen their skills and glow boldly on the mic. Ready to level up? Visit penduluminc.com and start your journey today.
And now, back to our show.
So and so then, fast forward, then I went and signed my crew, the Executioners, and this is during the period of time when there was a lot of DJ albums. Flex had his album, Big Cap, all of Clue had his album, but I knew that we couldn't do that same thing, so I was always looking at a different way to do it. And these guys, they had continued on, and they had their own following already, and they were more of an alternative. They had white fans, like white college kids were coming to see them perform. That's what all their sold out shows were, raves, and they were doing all of those. And that was when turntablism was at a bigger point. It was at its height. Mm-hmm. So I knew we couldn't do the same kind of record, and I was like, we need to do like an alternative. I looked at the fans that they had, and I picked Linkin Park as a group for us to do a song with when they were just coming up. That was before they became Linkin Park, and we did that song, and that became huge. Dead Prez was a group that also got signed during the same period of time that Dead Prez, and I seen.
Did they come when Dead Prez got signed? Did they have hip hop, or did they make that as they? Okay.
No, they didn't have hip hop. They came through Lord Jamar. Lord Jamar brought them in.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Lord Jamar found Dead Prez.
Okay.
And that they were signed to him originally.
Wow.
And that was how that deal got done.
Okay.
And I became their A&R and their point person, and I helped scope that whole album with them. Every artist that I've really worked with, we kind of became friends. Like I'm still cool with that, Dead Prez to this day, So we created those records, but hip hop didn't come until late. We had just the regular story. Album's done. You don't got a single.
Need that one more record.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
We need one more song.
Single. Yeah, where's that single? So they made Stick was like, fuck that. He went in the studio. He made the beat for hip hop, and it's a really simple beat. It's just drums and that bass sound.
The bass line.
That's the whole beat. And he was kind of doing it on some fuck the label shit, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah, he was like, that's why the song's about the music industry. And if you listen to the lyrics, it's kind of like they want a single, all right, I'm going to give them this. And he didn't think that we were going to like it. And I remember coming back from the studio, because I was like, this is crazy. When I walked in and he was making that beat, I was like, this is crazy. The next day, how I would test records in Loud, since this is the time when record labels, basically the staff at Loud, I can speak for Loud, the staff at Loud were also the demographic for our records, right? Yeah. So I would always anytime I had a record that I thought was something, I learned not to ask people if they like a song. I just play it. And that's the same way at A&R with beats as well, and just see what the reaction is. We had a room in the back of Loud. I don't know if you had ever been to the Lexington Avenue office. It was a room in the back that was not really soundproofed, but we had huge speakers in there, mob, and everybody would come back, smoke weed in that room. So I went back there, turned up hip hop super loud just to see if anybody would come back and be like, what's that? And mad people. I remember my boy Chef coming back who was in promo. Most of the street team dudes will always be like, yo, what's that? What's that? You know what I mean? Like, what's that? So yeah, and that was hip hop. So I knew we had one. Same thing was Still Not a Play. I did the same thing the next day after we did that. Back at the office, turned it up loud, see who would come back. And that was kind of the test. Every time anybody came back, it would be, if it was like 5, 6 people, I knew it was something, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I remember little quick story. So I used to date this girl who worked for a while at Bad Boy. So I went up there one day to see her, and it was like late in the day, you know, probably 7, 8 o'clock. And I heard hip hop playing, and I'm like, why are they playing hip hop at Bad Boy?
That's
Bad Boy.
crazy.
So she walked in. She said, I want to introduce you to somebody. It was Shine, and he was playing hip hop. He was playing hip hop. He was blasting it. And I was like, this shit hot, right? He was like, yeah, this shit is crazy. Yep. It was the only time I ever met that kid.
Wow,
He was
that's
playing
ill.
hip hop. Yep. Wow, man.
That's
Wow.
dope.
So after Loud turned into SRC, correct?
Yes.
So what was the transition from Loud to SRC like?
So he turned into he started SRC, which was his promo company. He turned into a record label. I wasn't there right away in the beginning. Excuse me. I wasn't there in the beginning when he first started it. So he had David Banner and Akon. Excuse me. Pardon me. So yeah, Loud turned into SRC, and he had those artists, but I didn't work there first. Actually, nobody became A&R at SRC.
Okay.
So nobody worked with Akon and a couple other artists. So it still was family, still moving. And then when he wanted to do the Terror Squad deal, he brought me in to make the Terror Squad record with Joe. Because he couldn't get Joe was still signed to Atlantic at the time, but they had dropped but they didn't have Terror Squad. So he probably would have signed Fat Joe if he could have, you know?
Yeah.
So he just
guys got on the Terror Squad.
Yeah, and Remy actually Remy signed to Loud because Remy was Pun's artist. And I remember when he had a rap for me when he was still alive or whatever, and he promised her that she was going to be put on. He died that same year or you know, earlier in the next year. Joe kept her under the wing. So when SRC started, they moved the deal. When she didn't have a deal, they just moved it to SRC. So it was really a setup for Rem's album. So I came in to make those records with for the Terror Squad record with Joe. And so that was really the extent of my SRC.
Was Conceited around this time?
Yeah, so we did the Terror Squad record, of course, and Remy was hot as fish grease off of Lean Back, and that record did really well. Of course, it was, you know, Lean Back was a phenomenon,
monster.
So that gave her heat, and then we started making her record, and we did the Swizz record, the whatever, we did the Conceited record, and yeah, those were the 2 records for our album, and we dropped her.
Now, was Annie Up? Had she already done the Annie Up remix?
That was at Loud. Yeah, she did that because she was signed. So that was at the Loud period of time. Remember when we had MOP and it had Annie Up and it was moving, they wanted to do the remix and like, yo, put Rem on it. Rem actually was like, I want to be on that. And it's like, all right. I kind of didn't see it at first. You know what I mean? And she's like, nah. Give me the beat. I heard y'all doing a remix. Give me the beat. And she bodied it.
Yeah. So the only thing you did at SRC was the Terror Squad project.
Terror Squad. Oh, I did Terror Squad. I did Remy's album, which came out on SRC as well. After it was Terror Squad, Remy, and then Pharoah March I did a Pharoah March album. People don't realize Pharoah March was on. I
forgot March was signed over there.
Yeah, he was signed on SRC. And then there was a Wu album that I worked on that came out on SRC as well. I was A&R for that. And then that was during the same period. So that was during that time. So when Loud folded, and that was that time in between Loud and SRC, that was when I was running as a producer. So I was really like, that was, you know, I was executing the plan, because the plan only Loud was just so that I could get my producer stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I could get my producer thing off. And I didn't do many records for artists on a lot. I did 100% for Pun. I did a couple and then I, did a couple records over there, some for Western Records, some soundtracks I worked on over there, like Soul in the Hole and all that stuff as a producer. So I had to remind myself of what my plan was so that I wouldn't get caught up in just being an A&R. And I started, went harder on giving beats to people, and ended up getting a lot of Ghostface records. So during that period of time, I started moving and I started doing records with Puff, and got an artist signed over there as well. And then went full circle, and we did American Gangster.
Yeah, but before we get to that, we're gonna get to that. Before we get to that,
but that was the time. That's that period. Yeah.
Yeah, that period. Yeah. Before we get to that, I forgot. I had one more question. Tell me a couple of. I always say crazy, and I might not be the. I need to change that term because I'm definitely not trying to incriminate anybody or put people's business in the street per se. But tell me a couple, I guess, interesting stories about working with any of the artists in Loud, some's like, oh shit, I can't believe that happened or whatever, without incriminating anybody and if you can't remember nothing, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I know people have told a lot of the Big Pun stories of him with the he would have he had this gun that shot blanks, and he used to carry it around all the time. Yeah, he carried it around all the time, and while he's in the studio, him and Tony Sunshine would do this trick where they would put he put an apple on his head, and he'd be like, shoot it off
in the studio,
and Pun would pull it out and shoot the apple off his head. Like Tony would shake his head and the apple would fall off. He had a gun go off. It's crazy because how it's ill how a gun really doesn't make you think logically, because if I shot an apple off your head, the apple would explode on the wall.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It wouldn't just fall off your head.
Yeah.
But he used to do that all the time and freak people out. I remember he did it one time when Rashad Smith was in the studio. And then I was at his house one day, and he was doing vocals for something at his crib. He did the gun. He was like, yo, let's do the gun trip. I think, was it Tony Touch? I think Tony Touch had come up there. Somebody had come up, right? And this dude, Sunkiss, was there. And Pun just was like, do it. So he starts beefing with some, random dudes in Pun's crib all the time. And he starts beefing with with one of the guys. Like, yo, where's my money? I told you when I see you again, you better have my money or whatever. And then he pulls out the gun and he's like, blah, blah. And he starts letting it off, and the dude falls to the ground. And then Tony Touch was like, y'all watch his face. He was like, and then he was like, no witnesses. Tony's like, no. I'm good.
Mortified and shit. He's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, Pun used to do that all the time. Like,
so he was a prankster.
Yeah, super prankster.
Wow.
That's to the extent of I can tell. I can't tell.
Yeah. Don't tell the shit you can't tell. I
can't tell. But a dope story though was like, and I'm sure you have a ton of these, but just like being hip hop nerds, like the first time you heard certain records that ended up becoming classics. Like I remember being in the office, like Loud while you're going through it, you don't realize how much of a time it was that won't ever happen again. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You could just be in the office and Raekwon would just pop up and be like, yo, what up, son? And I'm like chilling. He's like, yo, you want to hit a new Wu single? Coming up, listening room. So just me and Ray, and this is for the second album. This is me and Ray in the listening room. Ray light up a blunt, puts the tape in, and it's me and him, and he stands in front of me and performs the entire Triumph, like everybody's verse. He's like, a bomb,
wow.
Like, it was just dope. Every time I hear Triumph, I just always remember how I heard it for the first time was Ray. Everybody's verse standing in front of me. You know what I mean? Like,
that's funny. I remember way back when I was working at my first job was Wild Pitch. Shakim, who manages Latifah, he manages Flavor Unit and all that. We had a couple of Flavor Unit artists signed to Wild Pitch, Chill Rob G, Killer T. So Chill Rob G and I became really, like you said, you become cool with the artists. You spend a lot of time with them, and so Chill Rob G and Apache or RP was a really good dude. Actually, they came to the office one day, and I was there by myself, and we were talking and shit. And I'm the first person to play them America's Most Wanted, Ice Cube. They hadn't heard it. I said, "You want to hear this Ice Cube shit?" And they're like, yeah. And I remember I still can, if I could draw Apache's face like right now. Like he was just like, "What the fuck is this?" You know? If you get those type of stories, like just kind of,
man, it's so dope.
Yeah, man, it's so dope. So let's jump to American Gangster. So American Gangster obviously is the soundtrack for the Denzel Washington movie about Frank Lucas. You guys, you and LV, your producing partner, oversaw and did a lot of that soundtrack. So tell me about that experience with Bad Boy, and obviously Jay-Z. So tell me about that experience.
It was dope, man. I remember Puff had text me. Well, not text, because it was either two-way or BlackBerry.
BlackBerry.
Yeah, it might have been a BlackBerry or a two-way.
I still miss my BlackBerry on the low.
Yeah. And because we had an artist signed, so we were in the studio a lot working on stuff, and then we would work on stuff for him and a lot of the other Bad Boy artists. And, so he knew the kind of sound that we had, which was a little different than some of the other, guys that were around or whatever, and or that generation of hitmen. And he's like, "Yo, I just ran into Jay and Sandro Pay, and he's he's doing another album, and he wants me to executive produce the album, and I want to do it with y'all. I want y'all to do it because he wants all soul shit, soul samples and
soul samples." Okay.
Yeah, but he didn't tell us it was American Gangster at that time.
Okay.
He didn't tell us we didn't know it was for, a movie or none of that. He just said that they were giving slight information out. I mean, they were slow on the info. And so we were in the studio once working on something, and L said to him, like, "Yo, what's up with the J?" Oh, he said, "Yo, have them send me all of the beats from the studio." So we made this is CD time. Made a beat CD, sent them all of the joints. We hadn't heard anything about it. Weeks passed by. We're in the studio. I was like, "Yo, what happened with the the Jay-Z project?" And he said, "Oh yeah, you're right." He said, "Call him now." So called him. Literally like 20, 30 minutes later, Jay shows up to the studio.
Wow.
Yeah, in a wrinkled t-shirt, just like he was just like he was just in the crib. He got there like 20 minutes flat,
Wow.
He comes in, we say what's up, and we start playing them beats. And we put in the first beat that we played was Sweet. It ended up becoming Sweet, but that was the first beat that was played. And he was like, "Yo." So we, stayed there a couple hours. Then he gets, on one of the beats, he stops. He's like, play it again. And then he just said, "Keep playing it." And he's just sitting there in the chair. Then he's like, "Turn the mic on." He goes in the booth, spits a whole song. That's a song that we ended up not using. It ended up not going on the album. But then from then on, he took the CD, and it was probably 3 weeks every day. We're in now. It's like he's like, "We doing it." So now it's like
work mode now.
And he had played so he didn't play anything at that point. So now we're doing it. He takes the beats, it comes back to the studio. Say that was a Monday. Tuesday we go record shopping. I'm buying records. Come back sampling, making beats. Wednesday Jay comes back to the studio and plays us the verse for Sweet, then the verses for No Hook as a song. He gives it to us, and then we add on to that, and then we give him a new batch of beats. He takes those and goes to Rock the Mic. This is when he had Rock the Mic. So that's the process. Every day it's like a day of making beats, and then the next day Jay comes back to the studio with the song. And that was how it went, like every other day. And then we would add to what he did.
Yeah, add extra production.
Like, "Oh, I'm gonna change this now that y'all added that. I'm gonna change this, or I'm gonna add on, And that song got done. I mean, that album got done like, really quick. I mean, in today's standards, it's not fast, but in those days, it was fast.
Yeah, in those days, yeah.
because we
That's
weren't
dope.
trying to MP3 stuff. I remember going to the studio one day, going to rock the mic, because those were like no sleep. That was like a month of like not really sleeping, but you really moving on adrenaline because everything is just dope. It's like we making
Everything
this
is
record
lit.
that we
Yeah.
knew was gonna be something, like, so it wasn't I wasn't tired. We was all excited,
Yeah.
And I actually was working on a Wu album at the same time while I was doing that as an A&R. I still had an A&R job.
Okay.
That's what I see. And hold on.
It's all good. It's all good.
All right, my bad. Oh,
We'll edit it out. We'll edit it out.
Yeah, edit it out. I'll say it over again. So, I still had an A&R job. So I was doing the Wu-Tang album at the same time. So I'm juggling back and forth, but I'm feeling really inspired working on this J record as well, And we would be back and forth from record shopping to the studio. And I remember one day after we had gotten a bunch of records done, I was in the MIDI room making beats, and L was in A, and he was like, "Yo, come in A," and I was like, well, "I was just in A." He's like, "Nah, come in A real quick," and it's like it was a whole nother thing. It was like Beyonce, LeBron, Jay, and they all listen. Yeah, and they all listening to Rock Boys. You know what I mean? Like
wow.
So it was a dope experience, man, going back and forth to Rock the Mic. Oh, that was the story I was going to tell. I went to Rock the Mic one day, I guess to give him a beat for something or whatever. And Jay was there by himself. And he was playing American Dreamin' beat. Because that song had different verses on it originally. He had this idea. It's a verse that he's actually said on in a freestyle. This shit right here make you want to go and throw on your fly gear. And he was like, I love this rhyme, and I love this beat, but I don't think they don't go with each other. So he wanted to make a whole new song. So he wrote American Dream into it, but then we didn't have a hook. So he's in there listening to it, and he's like, yo, I'm gonna play you something. He's like, I went to the gym and I came back and this was on my computer, and it was American Dreaming with Beyonce doing the hook. He's like, she just did.
Wow.
I never even asked her to do it. She just knows.
She just did it.
She just did it. Like, you know what I mean? And we ended up not using it. There's a couple songs actually that Beyonce was on that album, like background stuff. Like Pray, she's still on. Yeah. No, not Pray. Pray, she was on. She was doing the prayer. But like Sweet is her in the background saying some of the background, like the female voices, and Rock Boys, she's a female voice in the back. It was a dope time. I had mad fun making that record, man.
Yeah, that sounds incredible. That sounds amazing. So after that kind of era, you started to get into music supervision.
Yeah,
correct? Am I right or wrong?
Yep.
So was the Get Down?
Yeah, so I only worked on the Get Down for marketing and stuff like that. I was consulted to make sure that some of that stuff was authentic to the time.
Yeah.
So I wasn't actually on set and stuff like that for the Get Down, but I was a consultant for when they would do certain things, and they were like, "Is this gonna be
hip hop type shit?"
Yeah, you know what I mean. Is this authentic to the time, or what? And giving them ideas and things of that nature.
So the first what was the first supervision? Was it
Luke
Cage?
I did the same thing with Luke Cage, and then Wu-Tang was actually the Wu-Tang show was the first that I went in as a technical advisor, and I would be on set and I would help them. I would remake songs with them because all the artists had to put their vocals.
Yeah, they had to become the characters.
To be them. So I would remake the songs with them. I would coach them through all of their vocals, recordings, as well as being on set to make sure that they're performing it correctly. And that things were accurate to the time. I learned a lot during that period of time, and it was purposeful. Like, really was like, I want to get into TV and film in some sort of way. And I went and took some TV classes, some film classes, and it kind of the universe just kind of dropped that in my lap as the first thing, which is crazy because it's like, oh, it's Wu-Tang. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
full circle.
yeah, it's like a full circle thing, you know? So yeah, it was a dope experience, man. Shout to Stephanie, was somebody who has kind of, I learned a lot. She's a music supervisor.
Yeah.
And she's kind of like put me under her wing, and she's taught me a lot, you know?
Yeah, I really like that series. I mean, it got a little off track as it went on, but that first season was great. I honestly, I didn't know if those guys could play those people. I was like, I don't know, he's going to be Raekwon, or I was like, Dave East said meth, but then they did it. I mean, Dirty's son, him, that was easy, but
that wasn't Dirty Son. Dirty Son didn't play him. That's TJ.
Dirty's son?
No, that's TJ. He's from Philly. He didn't play him.
Okay, then then again, and then Ashton, who played RZA, it was like, but then you see the movie, it felt so authentic. Like you felt like you were watching them, and like I said, even when they would do music, it felt like they're like. At no point did I think Ashton was like not making beats for real. I don't know if he was, but it felt like it. You know what I'm saying?
That was my job. I would be on set, and I taught him how to use the MPC. I'm not the MPC. Taught him how to use the SP12. I taught him how to DJ. Like, you pick up the needle this way. Like, some things that are so second nature to me that I didn't think you have to teach somebody to do. But realizing a kid, especially in that generation, I don't think he had ever even picked a needle up on a record.
Probably not. He had CDs,
you know what I mean? So when it was so foreign to him, and he was like grabbing it, and I was like, whoa, no, you gotta hold it. And then I had to do it myself to remember, like, well, how do I do it? Because it's so second nature.
Yeah.
How do I show somebody how to do it where you don't look like you never done it before?
Yeah.
So I was on set doing those things, and the kid who played Ray was really, really dope in the sense of, I would say he was very much, they all were, but he was one of the first people that I worked with, and he was really dedicated to getting all of the nuances of Raekwon correct. And I remember the director asking me, and people looking at him funny, like, why is he walking like that? He's walking like a cowboy. And I was like, what do you mean? And then I said, oh, nah, that's how Ray walks.
He's walking like Ray. Exactly. He's walking like
and
Ray.
He's bow-legged. He walks. That's the way he walks. So he was like really dedicated to making sure he got that shit
right. Yeah.
Yeah, all those little nuances.
Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up real quick. I don't want to keep you too long. Mm-hmm. Even though there's so much more shit, we could do this for 3 hours, to be honest.
I mean, the answers are so long, but I wanted to make sure you.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. This is what people want to hear, and people are gonna be happy with this one. I know you've worked with Black Thought on his solo stuff. As a A&R person or as a producer or both?
No, as a producer.
Okay.
So during that same period when I was doing the Wu-Tang, and I did the Raising Cain and stuff too. I worked on that.
Oh yes, right. Yeah, Raising Cain. Yeah, I have that power book and stuff written down. Yeah.
Yeah. I worked on that and did the Streets Need a Body, and kind of the same thing I did on the Wu-Tang, but I produced that song for that season. But during that time or afterwards, Tariq had went on Flex and spazzed out and did that.
When he spazzed on the freestyle.
Freestyle.
Yeah.
And I just, I've known Tariq for years. I met him back during the Pun days because he was on Pun's first album, Super Lyrical.
Okay.
And we became cool. So we became really, really cool throughout the years. And I hit him to just give him props on the, show him some love on the freestyle. And he's like, yo, what's up? Let's do something. I was like, bet. After the holidays, we'll get in. And so we booked a session to just mess around or whatever, just to, make some music. And he had done these Streams of Thought volumes. He had did Streams of Thought Volume 1 with Ninth Wonder. He did Volume 2 with Salam. So him and I did Volume 3 together. So that series is him and one producer. So Volume 3 is just me and him, in the studio making it.
You got a Grammy nomination for that, right?
Huh?
You catch a Grammy nomination, right? Or did you win a Grammy?
We got an NAACP nomination.
Okay,
yeah.
I knew it was something.
We got an NAACP nomination. And we went out to, I spent a lot of time on the Pacific Northwest. So I got a whole, just people out there as well.
Uh-huh.
And this group, Portugal Le Man, which is a rock group. My girl actually knew them as well and connected, and we got them on the record and made it a little. I always try to think different, man, and think out of the box. So
do some other shit.
Do some other shit, and then my boy Sam ended up getting us signed over at Republic. So it was like it came out on a major label during the period of time that all the marches and the protests and all that was
George Floyd and all that stuff.
Yeah, it was something that's kind of spoke to that. And I was going, I was seeing all of that like in Seattle. We were feeding the protesters. I seen the whole like when they took over a whole neighborhood in Seattle.
Wow.
Like so a lot of that is in the album. A lot that was what was feeding me during that time.
Wow. So tell me what's coming up? What's next?
So I've started this. My partner and I, Dan Glogauer, and a couple other people.
Dan. Tell Dan I said what up.
Yeah, we have a new venture called Principles, and it's just based on the timeless principles. Principles endure time. Mm-hmm. The guidelines that help you endure time. So even though we've been around for, we have the experience of being around, there's certain things that don't change. And we're a music solutions company as well as consultants. So we have like Paramount as a client. We have Red Bull as a client. So it's really dope. I'm really excited about everything that we're doing, helping artists find their fan base as well as helping established artists just, see their vision.
Regenerate themselves.
Yeah, and seeing their vision from beginning to end. And we do everything from digital marketing to me making records for people to, helping market your catalog to, it's a full service
That's
company.
Dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. Now, where's Dan? He's living in Jersey? Did he move?
Yeah, Dan's in Jersey.
Dan's still in Jersey?
Yeah, Dan's in Jersey.
Tell him I said what's up for sure.
Yeah.
Tell him I said what's up for sure. I've been talking to him quite a while, but he's a real good dude. All right, Sean, I got a couple questions for you. I ask everybody these questions at the end of the show. I want to get your feedback on them. So give me an artist that you wanted to sign, but you weren't able to.
Kanye.
Wow. Tell me the story.
I was able to answer that mad fast.
You was mad fast. Oh, I don't know. Pause, maybe? I don't know.
I mean, it was Kanye, and it was kind of self-explanatory. Hip hop had played me the album. We met a few times. Kanye actually worked on the first Dead Prez album, did a remix. I thought he was just super dope. Mm-hmm. And we all know what he turned into. I didn't see that, but I knew that he was just dope. The music was he was a throwback to what Native Tongues Tribe. Just kind of like we know what Kanye was. So it's kind of sad. And I wasn't able to do it because Loud was folding at the time. So it was like right at that point when Loud was folding. So they didn't want to even waste anybody's time. It wasn't public knowledge, but I knew it. No one, and Stephen Rich didn't even really, they wouldn't admit to it, but we all knew it was coming.
Yeah. You didn't want to get them jammed up.
Yeah. So I had the album and
so Kanye would have been a Loud artist. That's interesting.
I mean, I don't know if the deal would have happened, but I wanted it to. I think it was during that period of time when he was going around to all of the different labels because we saw the doc, and that was one of the artists that I wanted to sign at Loud.
Okay. So tell me 3 of your favorite artists and why. And I'm not talking about, it could be anybody, not people that you work with, but just in life.
In life?
Yeah, just in general.
My favorite rap group is De La Soul.
Okay.
Because of the same reason why I wanted to sign Kanye. Because I felt like they pushed the envelope. They were the first to be introspective. Now, I don't know if I want to say introspective, but be vulnerable. And there was nothing like them before. And I always like artists that, break new ground. There was nothing like them. And they really spoke to me. I love the way they flipped the samples, all that.
Okay.
My favorite rapper right now, though.
But this don't have to be rap. This could be anything.
Oh, it could be anything.
Yeah, any genre. This doesn't have to be rap. I don't rap.
Yeah, I got you. Well, then James Brown would be my favorite as far as when it comes to just music in general. He covered so much ground. He broke ground.
Yeah.
You know what's so interesting is about James Brown that I didn't think about till later on, like maybe in the last 10, 15 years, is that realizing that back then there were so many people that, even though he was the king at one point, but there were a lot of people that didn't like him because they felt like he was just yelling and he wasn't really being musical. He wasn't like making conventional songs, was more grooves.
He wasn't doing a Motown type thing, you know?
Yeah, it was more like it was like jamming almost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like jam sessions, a lot of it. And it was mostly feeling. A lot of it didn't musically make sense in some, in some songs. And you can equate that to like party records now, or you know, party records in the 2000s, and what Cool and Scoop and all those guys, were doing. It's like that kind of feel. I mean, he had This Is a Man's World, and he had his ballads, but for the most part, James is one of my favorites, just because. I mean, I think that's self-explanatory too. Basically created.
And the interesting thing about James, like if you really, and I know you've figured this out, when you really listen, like he's actually like he's telling the band what to do.
Yeah,
like if you really, he's telling no, like that, come in now, break it down.
Yeah, while
break
it's
down.
happening.
That means break it down. He's not just saying that shit, and the way the band is moving, what he's telling them to do is incredible.
Yeah, exactly. You know? 2 times.
Two times.
All that.
All that shit. He's amazing. Give me a third.
Yeah, third artist of all time.
Yeah.
Damn, man, you caught me off guard with that. That's
everybody says that. Everybody says that.
Yeah, because it's hard to like pinpoint down to 3 artists because there's so many. And then as soon as we're finished, I'm gonna be like, I should have said this. And then you want to say the answer that makes you look real artsy.
Like real sexy. I'm deep with it.
But yeah, I think De La's my favorite. They're just one of my favorite groups. Then James, oh man, hard, yo. Because I'm thinking producers as well. I'm thinking, damn, Jeff.
These questions stump everybody. Every time I ask them, they be like, what? They be really thrown.
Yeah, because you got to give me more than 3. Like that's
you only get 3 because we got to move on to the next topic. You only getting 3. Every topic is 3.
Oh, man.
Every topic is 3.
Man, I'm gonna say that's not really true though. There's so many, yo. It's hard to pin it down to 3, man. So I'm gonna just say on that, I said De La's hip hop and James is hip hop too, but
soul.
Damn, I'm gonna say, damn. Because I would say Jay.
I thought
as a rapper.
I thought you were gonna say Jay.
Yeah,
okay,
I say Jay.
That's a good one.
I say Jay as a rapper.
Okay, yeah. That's a good one. Now, name me 3 of your favorite songs you worked on it, and tell me why. Not artists, songs.
3 of them. Okay, I'll say song, the whole song, not just the beat. The song.
Whatever. Doesn't matter.
Well, one of my favorite beats. Okay, I will say 100% from Big Pun.
Okay,
is one of my favorite beats and songs that I ever did because what it meant.
Okay.
What it meant to a certain demographic.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say like that, you wouldn't think that a black dude made the Puerto Rican anthem, right? And and it's such a mix, like the things that made that record, it's a mix of different cultures. So it's a black dude that made the beat, the engineer, sound boy is Colombian, the guy who played percussions on it was Dominican.
Okay.
And the sample is some Che Guevara from the Che Guevara soundtrack.
Wow.
And then the rapper is Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
So it's like a mix,
everybody that
it's like a big gumbo of black and Latin.
Yeah.
That made that record. And it's always going to be around for a certain.
Oh yeah. Always.
Puerto Rican.
You're going to hear that in the summertime somewhere.
Yeah, it's going to mean
always.
So much. So
yeah.
So I'm proud that I was that God put me in that position to be able to make that song. All the pieces kind of came together for that. And then I'd say Rock Boys.
Okay.
Would be my second that I produced because it meant it marked a specific. I mean, every song marks a time, but that for me marked a specific time of a change in my life, of things changing and going in a certain direction. So that, and then the third song would be, you know what? I'm gonna say a song that probably nobody ever heard before. Well, I can say ever heard, but it was like a song that didn't even do anything because it was the first beat that I ever sold.
Okay.
And it's on the Bad Boys soundtrack, the Will Smith and Martin movie. It's called Clouds of Smoke by this group called Call It a While from Polo Grounds. My boy Barry, I went to high school with him.
Okay.
And that's the first beat that's the first time I made a beat and got money for making
paid for it.
And I got paid for it.
That was your intro into actual business.
Yeah, that's the first time I ever got paid for making a beat. So
cool.
that meant a lot to me.
Okay. And this is the last one. Name me 3 of your favorite producers and why.
Quincy Jones.
Okay.
Again, self-explanatory. We don't know what Quincy Jones, because he covered all genres and he did so much throughout his whole decade. And I feel like he is he's the North Star, you know what I mean? And he's the example of how long you could do it too, and doing television music, just him as an entity, like
film, all kind of shit.
Everything. He trumps. He trumps everything.
Yeah,
and all genres. And a similar reason, Rick Rubin, for a similar reason.
Okay,
not the movie film thing, but the fact that he was able to do LL Cool J, the Beastie Boys, and Johnny Cash, and Red Hot Chili Peppers.
And the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, and then come back and do Jay-Z, and you know what I mean? Yeah. And, I like to work with alternative rock shit too, like Portugal Man is my guys. We worked at Linkin Park. Like, I've always kind of seen that as not being something that was so much of a stretch, like it's all music in general, you know what I mean, when it comes down to it. So Rick Rubin, for that reason, and then Dre. And Dre,
self-explanatory as well.
Yeah, self-explanatory. He's Dr. Dre, and he's always able to create the world and have his own sound, and all those guys have that sound. He created this whole thing. And I always looked at, producing and beat making, like we know, they're two different things.
Totally different.
It's ill dudes that could chop up samples, and then Pharrell is super ill. Like, it's not fair to ask 3, man, because then you got Pharrell, and you know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, there's a million, but
and the time and just that longevity, you know what I mean? And Pharrell,
Tim, like this is like
you got Pharrell, Primo, you got, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I don't think anybody could argue with me about those 3 guys. Like, they transcend trends and you know what I mean, and whatever's going on, the wave, or they just still stay doing what they do.
They do what they do. It's not like Quincy Jones started trying to make rap records and shit. Like, it's
right.
Exactly.
I mean, he did do the joint with Big Daddy Kane.
I forgot about that. I forgot about that. That was dope. I forgot about that one. Cool. But that's it, man. Those are the questions I ask everybody at the end of the show to see where they at with it. You sure you want to change any answers before we go? Are you good?
I mean, I did want to add like some younger shit in there, because I did say all old ass niggas.
Name a couple young.
You know who I think is a super dope producer right now is Soundwave that does
Soundwave.
That does all the Kendrick shit. I feel like Soundwave doesn't get talked about enough at all.
He's ill.
That kid is fucking, and he's not a kid, but that dude is amazing. Like, you listen to all those Kendrick records and how he's able to weave all that stuff together, and his Sonics. He's super dope. I really like that kid a lot.
Yeah, he's dope. Yeah, next time I have you on, we'll talk about your foodie shit.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I'm the undercover fat boy, bro.
Talk about your palate, as they say.
So my girl's a chef, so that's the thing. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I'm seeing, like, it's interesting. I mean, because social media, you see so much more, and I'm definitely seeing a foodie growth You know, with younger black people like who are really into it. I'm seeing, I think I was supposed to forward that to you, and I don't know if I did yet. But there's a guy in New York that does the dinner parties. Like it's kind of becoming a whole thing, and I think it could be a way somehow to incorporate music into that. I'm not sure how, but it feels like some cross pollination with it.
You know, I was talking to Shy Money yesterday, and I told him, and this I kind of freestyled it. It just actually came up. We were just talking, and you know how you talk to someone or see someone you haven't seen in a while. You're always like, yo, we got to catch up, man. Yo, we got to catch up. And with us losing so many people, I want to start, like, I don't know, monthly, probably not monthly, but maybe every few months, a little get together. It could be drinks, it could be food with like-minded individuals that we all came up together, or 6 degrees of separation with, but like you, me,
Riggs, whatever.
We have like-minded friends, you know what I mean? We all have a certain thing, and it doesn't have to always be about business, but business will probably get done during that, but just making sure everybody kind of stays
in touch. I think you're right. You said something key. I think a lot of times when we all talk about getting together, it feels like, oh yeah, we're going to get together, and then something business will come out of that. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like that. It should just be getting together because, we're not 22 anymore, and, people, we lost some people, and we just need to kind of stay in touch. And business probably will come out of it, but that should not be the goal. It should just be like, no, we're getting together just because we haven't seen each other in a while. We're talking and catching up.
Exactly.
And the business comes out of it, then so be it. But it shouldn't be the focus. Like, I'm doing this shit because I'm trying to get this project off.
Right. Exactly. It's just be like catching up, because you have, so you see people, you have incredible conversations, and then you know about what's going on with their family and their health, and you know what I mean, all of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's something that we should definitely
do.
I'm thinking I'm gonna try to set that up this year. At least do 1 or 2 of them. At some point, maybe.
Please, I think it's, and we're going long. I'm gonna wrap it up after this. I think I'm watching, even on the club, I'm doing air quotes scene. I'm watching things become. People kind of want more intimacy. Like the whole kind of big club, and it's 2,000 people in there. And I don't know if that, there's going to be that, but I think I'm watching on social media, and people doing like parties in their crib and, in their house or small spaces, and people kind of want that intimacy. And I think that leads to what you're talking about too. Like, just a few people getting together and just chopping it up about, like I said, about their family or whatever it is. And it doesn't have to be this big overblown thing. It could just be like, it doesn't have to be some super fly restaurant. We went to fucking Fridays. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly.
As long as we all got together,
Without a doubt.
I really appreciate you coming through, man. Like I said, we could have done an easy 3 hours. But I think there's a lot of information spread, a lot of good stories told. This is a good episode.
Dope, man. I hope I was able to fulfill fulfill the content needs from the content gods, man. I appreciate it. But I think people don't really realize, and I talked to you about this on the phone, of what you have done and who you are. So I'm happy that you have this platform, because though you're asking the questions, we could all, always still get back to you and give people information about you the OG, really. You know what I mean? Like, I learned from you as well, just being that first person that I knew that had an A&R job.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. I just want to do this because I know there's a lot of people with a lot of stories that don't get told. And this, because people like Quincy Jones and Clarence Avant have passed away, I'm like, damn, like some of those stories will never be told because they're not here. So I was like, let me get with my generation of music people and let them tell their stories. In the great words of the American poet laureate CeeLo Green, I thank the Lord that my voice was recordable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Ooh, that's a dope ass line. That's dope.
CeeLo was amazing. So that I want to put people's story on tape, film, whatever you call it, and just have it. It's always going to be there for them, for their kids, for everybody.
I appreciate it, man. I got a blessed life, man, and I'm super grateful, man. I'm so grateful. I'm in a happy place. I'm in a great place. Like just being able to do what I love and always kind of navigate myself in this part of my life, in this part of my career. I try to choose things that are feeding either my growth or just that are just making me happy, like things that are make me grow. You know what I mean? So
yep. And that's how I feel about doing this. I think this is I'm happy doing this. It's making me happy. And I'm gonna, I don't know where it's gonna go. I don't know, but I'm riding it. And every time I do it, every time I do another one of these interviews, I'm like, I think I got something. I'm really happy with this.
You do.
Yeah. So thank you, Sean C.
All right, man. Thank you,
Mixed
bro.
and Mastered. Appreciate it. You can catch Mixed and Mastered on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, or wherever you get your podcasts. Hit that follow button, leave a review, and tell a friend. I'm your host, Jeffrey Sledge. Mixed and Mastered is produced and distributed by Merrick Studios.